My dear NEET aspirants, welcome to the chapter number 1 of your textbook of class 11th. Units, dimensions, errors, everything. And we are breaking this chapter into multiple smaller classes because marathons, one-shots are not what you need right now. What you need is in-depth classes because the NEET game has been leveled up. So, maintain the full energy in these lecture series for your 11th standard syllabus, be it NEET 2026, maybe you have taken a drop, or even for NEET 2027, that means you are a fresher. All right. So, let's begin that game of all our amazing lectures in this particular series and make sure you're onto the channel by subscribing it and also smash the like button if you have not already done that. This is your captain Shreyas, and I have been training kids for more than 13 plus years. And here I am to make sure that this year's batch of students of NEET get the best of the best content. And having studied from NIT and done research from IIT, I feel that this is going to be one of the best physics lecture series for all of you for covering the entire 11th standard syllabus, right? So, hi Sunita, Aparajita, hi Sarvana, எப்படி இருக்குங்க? Very good, I am very good. Hi, Miban, welcome. Yes, it's payback time for our revenge with the NTA, and I'm pretty sure you will do it this year. Let me tell you, we did really amazing, and in fact, there is something really cool coming up. So we are going to celebrate all our achievers very soon, and it's going to be a live event. Your famous, your favorite teachers are going to be there. Yes, live all together at one place. Be it our Hindi channel, be it our Tamil channel, be it our Telugu channel, be it of course your English channel. All your teachers are going to be at one place in this amazing celebration which is going to happen this particular Saturday. And this year in NEET 2025 we had amazing results right from all India rank 200, 400, 500, 1000, so many more. And the best part was one student got 99.9%, 99.99 percentile in the physics, which was the toughest in the NEET. Very few students could even manage to get even above 100. Very few students across the country, but getting 99.99%, we have done that. In fact, in JEE Advanced, there was a student who got complete full score in JEE Advanced, which was the only person in the entire country. Vedantu student. Not just that, all India rank 1 from Vedantu in the ISI exam. ISI is the most difficult exam, more than JEE Advance. Very few students get in. It's the Indian Statistical Institute, pure maths, pure research, statistical, computing science, and all of that. And all India rank 1. This time also, last year also, we had all India rank 1. It's the Olympiad level kind of examination. 3, all India rank 6, all India rank 10. All of them, guys, from Vedantu. So you should be extremely proud that you're studying here, and we will make sure that you get the best content from us, right? So say hello to me, and I would really love to know your names and all your cities because you're going to be with me. You're going to be my kids for the next 2 years or 1 year, okay? So welcome. Hi Kamali, hi Luna, hi Ferry, hi Sakti, welcome Zoya, hi Swarya. Yes, that's pretty good of seniors. Thank you so much for coming over here from Vedantu, Karnataka. Yes, Luna, I was teaching in Vedantu, Karnataka a long time back, but since I cannot manage everything at the same time, I'm only one person unless my AI version comes out. So here I am making sure that I deliver myself completely for all my JEE and NEET aspirants, right? Okay. Hi, Pravina. Hi, Anita. So let's begin, guys. So are you guys excited? Are you guys excited? Show that excitement by liking the video. Now, if I ask you, are you guys excited? Well, can you tell me the excitement? Can you tell me how much is your excitement in numbers? Can you tell me your excitement in numbers? I am 100 excited. I'm 200 excited. I'm 1 excited. I'm 0.1 excited. I'm -5 excited. Doesn't make sense because excitement, happiness, joy, sadness, sadness, or let's say how much motivation you have, or do you have fever? All these things can't be expressed in numbers. They can't be expressed in numbers. I cannot think of any objective way of defining it. I can say, yes, I have lot of fever. Yes, I have less fever. Yes, I'm overjoyed. No, I'm not so sad. I am feeling very bored. All these things can't be measured in numbers. But the moment I talk about, what is your temperature? Then the temperature becomes measurable. If I ask you what is your speed, that becomes measurable. If I ask you what is the force, that becomes measurable. I ask you what is your position, that again can be measured. So all these things, numbers can be associated with, they can be measured, whereas these things are very abstract quantities, subjective to person, they can't be measured. So physical quantities are exactly those quantities which can be measured. Basically, which can, physical quantities, what are they? Are those quantities which can be measured with with a value, or a number, which is also called as the magnitude of it, which is also called as the magnitude of that physical quantity. My temperature is 98 Fahrenheit. 98 is that magnitude. I am traveling at 75 kilometers per hour. 75 is the value or the magnitude of that physical quantity called as speed. Temperature is the physical quantity which can be measured in numbers like 98, 99, 100, like that. If I ask you how much force you are applying, force is that physical quantity which is again measured in numbers like 5, 10, 100 Newton, right? Exactly. Sarvana is 1002 in to raise to 22 excited. My goodness, Sarvana, that is next level of mathematics that you have used. That is too much of a number for me to comprehend. Too big a number, isn't it? Like our Avogadro number. Okay. Now, these physical quantities which you are seeing, they can be categorized into two different types. Yes, these physical quantities can be categorized into two different types. What are those two different types? The first one is called fundamental physical quantity. The second one is called a derived physical quantity. They exactly mean what they sound. Now, what do you think of when you hear the word fundamental? Fundamental means basic. That is very, very elementary. Very, very elementary. That is like the most, needed. Like we say, roti, kapda, makan. Yeah, food, clothing, shelter. Most basic thing. After that, we'll think about buying car or buying gold, traveling in aeroplane and all of that. Okay. So, basic, that is elementary, that is basically elementary, and they don't depend on anything else. They don't depend on anything else. Those are called fundamental quantities, without which you cannot make up any other things. They are completely isolated and independent. You need them as building blocks. They are basics. Through those building blocks, you can get something called as the derived physical quantity. So these derived quantities are dependent. They are dependent. They depend. They depend. They are dependent on the. They are dependent on the fundamental quantities. They are dependent on the fundamental quantities. So, can you give me examples, sir? That will be better. Yes, why not? I will give you examples. See, I'll tell you what, example wise. Let's talk about distance. Let's talk about distance. Then let's talk about speed. Then let's talk about time. Then let's talk about, let's say, uh, mass. Let's talk about mass. Then let's talk about acceleration. Let's talk about acceleration. Let's talk about area. Let's talk about volume. Let's talk about temperature. Temperature. Let's talk about density. Some random physical quantities I have taken. okay, which we are all aware of. We have seen it maybe in our ninth or 10th standard. Yeah, most of you have seen this physical quantities. Sometime or the other, you would have heard this. Yeah, okay, or seen this in science in ninth and 10th. Distance, it is not dependent on anything else. I can just directly measure the distance. So basically, it is nothing but a fundamental quantity. F stands for fundamental. Time also I can directly measure it using a clock. So that is also fundamental quantity. Mass I can directly measure how many kilos using a weighing machine or weighing pan directly. Whereas even temperature also directly put a thermometer and I can measure it directly. So it is a fundamental quantity. Whereas speed, I need distance and time both. So I need two things to measure it. So the moment there are dependencies, it becomes a derived quantity. So speed is derived. Acceleration depends on the how fast the speeds are changing with the time. So I need the speeds, the velocities, and the time. So definitely it is derived quantity. What about area, guys? Think about it. Hi, Nijay. Welcome, Yashwant. Hi, Sunflower. Yeah, derived are, yeah, from the base quantity. Yes, Lalit. Sir, my school time is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. CBSE syllabus. I'm from Kerala, Nakul. It's very sad that you have that long school. School should not be so long. Schools, colleges should be barely 6, 7 hours. But anyways, now you can't do it. You'll have to wake up early in the morning, practice every day for 1 hour, maths or chemistry, sorry, physics or chemistry. And after you come back, immediately sit for your coaching. And then in the night time, you will study as much as possible, bunk school, maintain 75% or whatever bare minimum attendance. Next thing, whenever you get a free period, break time, etc. in school, carry some notes, some flashcards, or if mobile possible, watch the lectures. If not mobile is allowed, then use flashcards, notes, everything, and keep solving questions or keep revising the theory even inside the school. Even while traveling, if you're using a bus or sitting behind on a scooter or whatever, try to read whatever you can. That is what even I did when I was traveling to my college. Okay. So, my dear, you are a fresher, which means you have a golden opportunity to crack NEET in the first attempt. So, better not take a drop. Try to clear it in the first go itself. Okay. Yeah. Right. So, area also depends on length, distance, and again distance. Distance comes two times. So distance is coming two times. That's it. It becomes derived. Lot of people think, sir, distance is fundamental. Distance is also fundamental. So fundamental only. No, sir. No, fundamental two times. No, so gone. It is derived. Volume also, it is derived because I need height, length, breadth. Three things I need. So three times, though it is the same quantity, it is still called derived, okay, because it is dependent on three things. Density depends on the mass and the volume, so obviously it is derived quantity. Everyone understood what is fundamental and what is derived? Clear about this? Yeah. Hi, Gopal. All right, perfect. Yes, definitely. If you love NEET, please give the NEET exam taking a partial drop, Rupa. Okay, don't give up on your dreams so easily. Now, you might be wondering, sir, how many exactly fundamental quantities are there? Don't worry. Scientists, they scratch their head. They scratch their head till their nails got worn out and their, head started bleeding. And then they understood, okay, apart from this, there is nothing else in the world. If you know these quantities, you can measure anything. Maybe magnetic field, maybe gravitational potential energy, maybe work done, power, torque, angular momentum, flux, you name it, inductance, capacitance, electric, the current density, whatever you tell in this world, you can get it using only these seven quantities. Everything depends in the world on these seven quantities. Isn't it amazing, guys? Anything, be it specific heat capacity, conductivity, thermal expansion, this, that, blah, 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 all of them are just dependent on these things. What are those things? Let's see them. The fundamental quantities, there are how many of them? There are seven quantities. There are seven quantities, but I will also do one thing. I will put plus 2 and I will put an asterisk. And you will be like, sir, where are those two, sir? I cannot see those extra 2 that you have put over here. Don't worry, I will come to it in a bit. So those are called as auxiliary fundamental quantities. We'll come to it after some time. First is, let's say, mass, then you have temperature, Okay, the ordering is not great, but anyways, so you have length or distance, you have temperature, you have current, electrical current, yeah, wires carrying current. Time is there. You have amount of a substance which is measured in moles. How many moles? There is a separate chapter in chemistry called as moles. You have mass, current also, it is a 12th standard topic. Yeah, mass is there, and intensity of the light. All of these are the fundamental quantities. Anything else, for example, velocity. Velocity will depend on distance and time. Acceleration depends on velocity and time. So indirectly, distance and time. Charge depends on current and time. Anything else, force depends on mass and acceleration. So mass and acceleration depends on distance and time. So anything and everything eventually, fundamentally depends on something else. So most of these things will be derived, but there are only 7 such fundamental quantities. Okay, Bhati ji, let me tell you, Bhati, we have lot of Hindi channels. Amazing Hindi channels also there. Some great or channels are also there. English channels, not one channel I can tell you apart from this which has good, quality teachers who know their subject in and out, working tirelessly, covering the entire syllabus on time, be it in our batches, be it on YouTube, maintaining a strict schedule, making sure we go deep. Teachers, physics teachers, so don't ask. Getting from IIT, NIT, not possible for NEET. Very rare. So, please be thankful that you have an English channel. So sorry, my dear. There are a lot of Hindi channels, even Vedantu has, but we'll be teaching purely in English out here. Okay? Great. I'm so grateful, Gopal. You got All India rank 980. Are you serious, man? Gopal? Then why did you not meet me before? Where was your comment? Because of me. Where? In JEE Mains, JEE Advance? Gopal. Yeah. So these are the 7 fundamental quantities which you should definitely know. Okay, we'll come to that extra 2 in a bit. Sir, now that you told physical quantities like whatever distance, speed, time, temperature, etc. can be measured, there is a number associated with it. How do you write a physical quantity? Always magnitude with the unit. That's what you generally see. Any physical quantity will have some magnitude and then some unit. Example, let's take some examples. Say I write distance is a physical quantity. Force is a physical quantity. Let's say velocity is a physical quantity. Let's say momentum is a physical quantity. Work is a physical quantity. Area is a physical quantity. Density is a physical quantity. Okay, let's say I write some values. The distance traveled is 5 something. Force is, let's say, 7.3. Velocity is, let's say, 59 or something. Momentum is 0.63. Work done, let's say, is minus 5. Area is, let's say, 300. Density is, let's say, 0.02. Now these are all magnitudes. Magnitude is there, which is n, but they should also have some unit associated with it. So distance is what? 5 watt, so maybe kilometers. Force is 7.3 watt, newtons. Velocity is 59 watt, maybe it is, centimeters per second. Momentum is 0.63, maybe kg meter per second. Work is minus 5 watt, maybe joules. Okay, area is 300 watt, maybe centimeter square. Density is 0.02, maybe gram per cc. So these are the units, which is basically U. N is nothing but these numbers, and physical quantity are basically these things. So every time you will see physical quantity will have some number and some unit. But is it possible that a physical quantity does not have unit only? Is that possible, guys? Is that possible? All right. Oh, Gopal, yeah, very cool, Gopal. I would really love to talk to you, Gopal. I mean, someday, whenever possible. I know you might be busy in the counseling process and all of that for Jay. Yeah, would really love, to make sure that you talk to our YouTube audience also, because a very good achievement of All India Rank 980, or just maybe, Uh, we can just have a casual conversation, and I would love to know your plans for the future, isn't it? Class timing, Bhuna, 6 o'clock is 11th standard, and 8 o'clock is 12th standard syllabus. There are some physical quantities, yes, which do not have any kind of unit associated with them. You might be like, sir, what are those physical quantities? Can you give me an example? So imagine a physical quantity without any unit, without any particular unit. Is it even possible? The answer to that is a big yes. You might be like, sir, which one, sir? Please tell me. There is something called as refractive index. Refractive index. The symbol of it is basically mu. So if I tell refractive index of glass and I tell it is 1.5, there is no unit with it. There is no unit with it. Yeah. Remember? Similarly, there is a there is a physical quantity called as efficiency. 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 Efficiency symbol is eta. Okay, so if I say efficiency of some engine and I tell you it is, let's say 70%, that's it. 70 is a number. Percentage is just in percentage. You can also write it in fraction, or you can say it is 0.07. That is the efficiency. There is no unit associated with it. It is a ratio. So most of the things which are like a ratio, they do not have any units associated with them. There are more examples of them, like you will have refractive index is done, coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction, that will come in a chapter of Newton's laws later on in 11th standard. Then you will also see a physical quantity called as strain. Strain also does not have any kind of units, and so many others like efficiency, refractive index, etc. So all these physical quantities, they have numbers, but they don't have any unit with them. Is that right? Everyone understood? So it is definitely possible to have a physical quantity without any unit. Yeah. Hello, Lakshana. Welcome aboard. Okay, sir. Sir, when you wrote these things, no, I was having one, you know, my stomach was paining. Why, sir? Why your stomach was paining? Sir, one time one kid is writing kilometer, one time centimeter, then kg meter, centimeter, gram. My goodness, sir, can you think about the number of units possible? Exactly, you are so right about it. Whenever you have physical quantities, there are so many kind of units which are possible. For example, the same distance of 2 meters can be written down as 200 centimeters, can be also written down as 2000 millimeters, can also be written down as 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 kilometers, can be also written down in feet and inches and so much more. So that means what? A physical quantity can be expressed can be expressed in multiple units, but important thing is with suitable conversion, like this numbers of 10 powers of 10, etc. So with suitable conversion. Just one second. So with suitable conversion, you can write it in different units. So that creates a new problem. Sir, there will be so many ways of writing the same thing. Shouldn't there be a standard like thing? The answer is perfectly yes. So what happened is, because of uh, geographical, historical reasons, whatever you might say, there were multiple units which were formed in different places. Like for example, the mass, the length, and the time, depending on which era you are in, which geographical region, and for whatever political, geopolitical reasons, social reasons, the mass in certain places was measured in kg, length was measured in meter, and the time was measured basically in seconds. Okay. This particular way of measuring mass, length and time was also called MKS. M for meter, K for kilogram, S for second. So this was called as the MKS system. What was it called? It was called as the MKS system. But certain places you will see that mass was measured in gram, length was measured in centimeter, time was still measured in seconds only. So this is called CGS, C for centimeter, G for gram, S for second. So this is called CGS system of units. Then in certain places you would have seen that the mass was measured basically in the pounds. How many pounds do you weigh? What is the length? It was measured in how many feet is it? And the time was still measured in second. At least they agreed on time for being measured in the same unit, and this was called as FPS system. F for feet, P for pound, S for second. This is also called as the British. This is also called as the British system. This is also called as the British or imperial system of units. Okay, this is also called British or imperial. This is the royal families, units. The Britishers used that, and they left behind few things. But now when there are so many units, and then you can also have some crisscross, some person from Antarctica, the penguins might unite and say, no, we penguins decide that we are going to measure time in hours, and length we are going to measure in light years, and mass we are going to measure in milligram. How are you going to argue with those penguins? It's going to be very crazy. It's going to be a tough time, guys. So there needs to be a standard. Let's say you make an aeroplane, you make a vehicle, you make a product, you make a table, a chair, whatever. You are measuring in centimeters. Penguins are measuring in light years. Some other person who is selling it is measuring in inches. It is a headache to convert it every time. So we need to create a standard. So it was now widely accepted that, okay, listen, the most suitable system which can be commonly agreed upon is the MK system. It kind of makes sense because most of the times things are in kgs and lengths are in meters and time is in seconds. Okay, so we usually use our MK system. Got it, my dear students? Everyone? Yeah, if you go to America or even in some parts of Europe, you will see that they measure how much fuel you fill in gallons, and then the average, here we tell, no, how much is my average of the scooter? It gives an average of 40 kilometers per liter. There they talk about miles per gallon, and you are like, my goodness, miles per gallon. First of all, how many miles is a kilometer? How many gallons is a liter? We understand liters, we understand kilometers. So different reasons, geopolitical reasons why different people use different things. But now the commonly used by all the engineer scientists, so that they all have similar agreement and they do not have to always convert things, it is MKS. But there is a problem in MKS. You might have realized it by now. Sir, actually there are many fundamental quantities and you have ignored so many of them, like temperature, current, you have amount, you have intensity of light. What about them, sir? You did not put it in MKS. So when the MKS was there, the fundamental quantities were not agreed upon completely. So once the fundamental quantities, the 7 fundamental quantities were agreed upon, the MKS system was later on extended. It was later on extended to include the remaining fundamental quantities. So then it was finally looked after, and then mass was measured in kilogram, your distance was measured still in meter, your time was measured in second, but then the remaining quantities, like for example temperature, was measured in Kelvin, not Celsius or Fahrenheit. Kelvin is the absolute scale of temperature. You will be learning about it in chemistry and physics also. Current was measured in ampere. Ampere symbol is capital A. 5 ampere current, 2 ampere current. Usually your mobile charges are like few milliamperes of current they will draw. Amount of a substance is mole. Short form is MOL. And intensity of light, how intense the light is measured in candela, which is having a short form of CD. Like ampere A, second is S, mole is MOL, meter is M, Kelvin is K. So same way, candela is basically CD. Is that right, everyone? Till this point, absolutely clear? So the This particular system, SI system of units, it incorporated this SI system of units, it incorporated the MKS, it incorporated the MKS plus the remaining units, plus the remaining fundamental units. Not just that, just remember few moments ago I told you, hey listen, there are not just 7 plus extra 2 are there. We'll talk about that now. Okay, so the remaining fundamental and auxiliary units and auxiliary units. So it incorporated that. So that is why we call it as SI system of units, system of units. So you will hear this word very common in physics, chemistry. SI unit is what? SI is the most commonly used, is the most obvious, and I would say most comfortable unit which we can use for understanding and measuring things. Okay. So you not only have your regular mass, length and time, but also other things like current, temperature, amount and intensity of light. Okay. So what are those two remaining auxiliary units or supplementary units? Auxiliary units or supplementary units. One is angle, the other one is solid angle. So supplementary, or you can call it auxiliary, one and the same thing, or auxiliary units. Auxiliary units. Now these units were added later on and they understood, okay, they are also important, they are used every time and they also take part in many other derived quantities. So angle and solid angle. Now everybody knows angle. Yes, sir, we know angle. And we took a special lecture just on angles and trigonometry in the previous sessions. If you have not attended it, please check it out. If you can go behind a little bit, you will see it, see it, see it, see it. Where is it? Where is it? Yes, basic maths for geometry. This was the class, a beautiful class on trigonometry, the angles and everything. We saw so much trigonometry in this particular lecture, and we also saw the other unit of angle which was called as a radian, and I showed you the conversion factor. And kudos to all of you. First of all, like this video, and kudos to all the students who solved this particular homework which I gave after the class. And guys, please remember, after every class I give you homework, solve it and put it up in the comments. We'll be seeing it in the next class. Okay. So very good guys, and thank you for the wonderful session. And sir, I'm 12th grade. I'm so glad that everything was crystal clear. Coordinate geometry and vector like plane for x, y, y, z. Saida, you can do one thing, you can watch my JE channel. Over there, these things are taught in detail for mathematics. Okay. Namrata ma'am is taking it. Yes, all students take coffee. That is also a shortcut for this particular um, quadrant rule, ASTC. Perfect. No issues. So, angle, which is, 5 degree, 100 degree, 200 degree, whatever. But we do not use degrees in SI system. We use radian. So, radian, short symbol, RD. Now, this angle that you see over here, this is basically a two-dimensional thing. So, you have this and you measure the angle. So this is basically a two-dimensional thing. This is always in two dimensions. It is in two-dimensional plane. But a solid angle, my dear students, it's a three-dimensional angle. It's a three-dimensional angle. It's very difficult for me to show it, but still I will try my best. Okay, so just imagine this. Okay, imagine this. Okay, and see if you're able to visualize this particular thing. This is some Thing over here. Okay, this is some object over here. Imagine like a cap or whatever. Whatever you see, it's in 3 dimension. That is a 3 dimensional angle. That is basically called as the solid angle. It is measured in steradian. Short symbol is SR. Yeah, short symbol is SR. We'll be talking about it in the respective chapter. For now, don't worry about it. Okay, so how do we measure steradian and all those things? We'll come to it whenever needed. For now, that is not needed, but just know it is an angle in 3 dimension. So when you have two lines, you measure the angle that is in 2D, that is angle. But imagine something like a envelope, something like a cap, or something which is going in 3 dimension. So that spread which is there in 3D, that is your 3 dimensional angle, which is called as a solid angle. Yeah. Yes, I hope you are able to visualize it. Okay, so that's why I took some effort to draw that solid angle. All right. Yes, sir, I understood it. So the 7 plus 2, which is totally 9 units, which are fundamental, are over here. Time, distance, mass, temperature, amount, intensity, current, and angle and solid angle. And the respective SI units, which is an extension of MKS units. We generally do not use CGS and FPS. So let's see some questions based on them. Which of the following physical quantity is not a fundamental quantity? Is not a fundamental quantity. Come on, guys. Luminous intensity, thermodynamic temperature, electric current, or work. Yeah, come on, guys. Think about it. Which of the following is not a fundamental quantity? Well, we all know intensity of light is fundamental quantity. It is measured in candela. Thermodynamic temperature is a fundamental quantity measured in Kelvin. Electric current is also fundamental, measured in ampere. Work is definitely not a fundamental quantity. It depends on force, displacement, other things, and force itself is derived. So dependencies means derived. It is not fundamental. Very good. Viraya, Dishad, Siddiqui, Beman, Sweetie, Anita, Sunflower. Very good, Aishwarya, Anita. Awesome, awesome. Proud of all of you guys. Which of the following physical quantity has the same unit in all the 3 systems of units? Same unit, no matter which unit you go. Is that so? I think there are 3 things which we saw. FPS, MKS, CGS. What was common in all of them? Which unit was common in all of them? Mass? No. Length? No. Time? Yes. Second. Mass, length, time. Time is the correct answer. C for your captain Shreyas. Yes, your captain Shreyas. Perfecto. Awesomeness. Kudos. No, not all of these. Mass in MKS was in kilogram. In CGS, it was in gram. In FPS, it was in pound. And length, meter, centimeter, and feet, obviously different. So the only thing common was your second. Nothing else was common, as you can see over here. Okay. So that was that answer. Moving on to the next one on your screen. Can speed, mass, time be used as fundamental quantities to measure force? Can you, in a new world, in a new universe, in a new alternate life, can you use speed, somehow mass and time to be used as fundamental to measure force? Think about it. You might have heard about the formula of force. Force depends on mass and acceleration. 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 Acceleration depends on velocity, velocity and time. Velocity depends on time and displacement. Time and displacement. Now, as you can see over here, displacement is fundamental, time is fundamental, mass is also fundamental, force is obviously derived. So, say for example, we had speed, which is just like velocity. We had mass, okay, we had mass, and we had time. So if we had time, so from time, we from time and speed, you can get acceleration, and mass and acceleration will give you force. 100% it is possible. The moment you make this dependency chart, things become very, very clear. The moment I make dependency chart, force is dependent on mass and this. Mass is there over here, yes. For acceleration, I need velocity and time. Velocity is there and time is also there. Definitely, with these two, I can measure this. And if I know this and this, I can measure this. So I don't need to know displacement then. Yes, perfectly fine. I can ignore it because I know a higher level quantity. So the answer to this is a definite yes. Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, it is just a unit. So don't worry. Actually, it should not be speed. It should be velocity. But yeah, speed, velocity can be used alternatively as just units, forgetting the direction part about it. Okay, because one is a scalar, one is a vector, which we'll be talking about later on. Okay. Now let us talk about this big ghost. Yeah, I call it the ghost because many people get confused. What is the difference between a unit and a dimension? And I can tell you one thing for sure. Any student who has attended Captain Shreyas sir's class will never be confused about what is the difference between unit and dimension. You ask hundreds of students, you might have found maybe at least 40, 50, 70 students who will always be confused. They will just give you the textbook definition, which is not enough. So dimensions. Imagine you have a derived quantity. Imagine you have a derived quantity, and you express it, in terms of the fundamental quantities, fundamental quantity 1, fundamental quantity 2, etc. Okay, fundamental quantity 3 with some powers. This is, let's say, power 1, let's say this is power 2, power 3, and all of that. If you are able to do that, then we say that you have found the dimension of that particular quantity. So if you have a derived physical quantity, or forget derived, I mean just any physical quantity, guys. If you have a physical quantity, and you are able to express it in the fundamental quantities with some powers, you have essentially found out what does it basically depend on the most basic things, to which powers of it. I will give you examples, don't worry. Let's say we talk about area. Okay, let's say we talk about area. Area by formula, is nothing but length multiplied by breadth. But wait a minute, length at the end of the day is distance, is nothing but distance, and breadth is also distance. So technically, it is nothing but distance raised to 2. Distance raised to 2. Or you can also say length raised to 2, because distance and distance, they were both lengths. So it is length raised to 2. I have expressed area in terms of the fundamental quantity with a suitable power. Well, I will give you more examples so that you guys get an idea. Let's say volume. Okay, let's say, density. Let's say density. Let's talk about speed or velocity. Okay, and just taking few examples so that you guys get an idea. First of all, what is the formula for volume? Length into breadth into height, for example. For density, it is mass divided by volume, and volume is nothing but length into breadth multiplied by height, isn't it? Speed, that is nothing but distance divided by your time. That is what it is. Okay, first, if you know the formula, then we can progress ahead. See, when you write the formula, whether those quantities are fundamental or not. Mass is fundamental, volume is not fundamental. So write volume in terms of fundamental things like length, breadth, height, all are fundamental. Length, breadth, height, fundamental. Speed in terms of fundamental, distance and time, they're all fundamental quantities. So if you think about it, this is nothing but length 3 times. So this will be length multiplied by length multiplied by length, length multiplied by length multiplied by length. So it is nothing but length raised to 3. Length raised to 3. Density is mass by lbh. So this is nothing but mass divided by, this is nothing but length whole cube. So this is nothing but mass raised to 1. Mass raised to 1. Length, if I bring it on the top, it will become negative power of 3. Length, if I bring it on the top, it will become negative power of 3 from denominator to numerator, numerator to denominator. The sign of the power changes. This is distance. Distance is nothing but length. At the end of the day, time is nothing but time only fundamentally. So it is length, the whole thing raised to 1, and time raised to negative 1 when I take it on the top. So when I express it like that, then it is basically called as the dimension of the dimension of the physical quantity. But sir, tell me one thing, isn't writing this very tedious? Mass, length, time. Sir, introduce some symbol, no sir. So symbols make our life easy. Don't worry, we'll introduce some symbols. What are those symbols? See, whenever mass is there, we'll write M, capital, length, capital L, time, capital T, current, capital A for ampere, temperature, capital K, K for Kelvin, amount of substance, MOL. You cannot use M, it might look confusing. That's why MOL. Luminous intensity, CD. Sir, will I have to know all these things right now? See, yes, right now, but you will not be using most of it right now. You will barely be using mass, length, time, current, maximum temperature for most of our problems in, first part of 11. As you learn more about temperature, moles, and then other things, current in 12th standard, then you will start using those other things. For now, mass, length, time, most of the times will be used. Okay. So don't worry about these things as of now. As and when those chapters come, you will be using it more and more often. So these are the short symbols of these fundamental quantities when you use it for dimension. Another thing, whenever you express dimension, you use a square bracket. You use a square bracket. Understand that. So now coming back to these things over here. Okay, coming back to these things over here. If I say volume, volume is basically length into breadth multiplied by height. That is basically the formula of the physical quantity, formula of that physical quantity. But the moment I write like this, square bracket of volume, what do I mean? What do I mean? The square bracket? The square bracket means the dimension of the physical quantity. This is then the dimension of the physical quantity. The dimension of that physical quantity. Volume, we know volume is nothing but length, 3 times. So length raised to 3. So since it is length raised to 3, length raised to 3, I can write it as L and then cube, or I can also write L cube over here in the brackets. It's one and the same thing. Okay, don't think if I put cube inside or outside, will it make a difference? No, you can put it outside or inside, it is one and the same thing. Understood what is the dimensional formula of the physical quantity versus just the formula? Okay. Formula containing refractive index. Hold on, Sandy, we are coming to such things. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, Meenakshi, we are doing dimensions. We have done with physical quantities, classification, fundamental, derived, and also the units part. So we are doing, the dimensional part of it. So you can always watch the replay by going back even in a live class. Okay, sir. So remember, memorize these formulas. We are coming to the more concept application part now. Okay, so let's see how do we calculate dimensions? How do we calculate dimensions of more physical quantities? Let's do this. If it is velocity, how do we calculate the dimension of velocity? Let's say it is acceleration. How do we calculate it? Let's say it is force. How do we calculate the dimension of it? Let's say it is density. How do we calculate? Let's say it is momentum. How do we calculate it? Okay. Sir, what about work, sir? Work. What about work? Okay, how do we calculate it? How do we calculate all these dimensional formulas? Basic formula you should know. Velocity. What is velocity? Velocity is nothing but displacement by time. Everywhere first put the formula. Acceleration, you put velocity by time, that's more than enough. Force is nothing but mass multiplied by acceleration. Density is nothing but mass divided by volume. Momentum is mass multiplied by velocity. Work is nothing but force multiplied by our displacement. So some basic formulas I have written down. Now it becomes easier to solve. How? Observe. Displacement is length at the end of the day. Time is time. So when you express it, everything on the top, always bring everything on the top. Even if there is no power, deliberately put 1. That's how you will always express it. And t's power is -1. Is that clear? Everything has to be brought on the top. And even if there is no power, you will put the power as 1, because anything raised to 1 is that same number. X raised to 1 is x. 5 raised to 1 is 5. 100 trillion raised to 1 is 100 trillion only. Okay. Jabida, we are covering only units and dimension, dimensional analysis, significant figures, okay, and rounding off next lecture, okay, that errors part. Then we will be going to, the remaining part of the chapter. So around 3 lectures will be needed, bare minimum. Okay. All right. Definitely. Yes, Sandy. I do remember. I think had you put a comment below some video, that sir, I'll be scoring all India rank NEET. Was it you or somebody else? Because I vaguely remember reading a comment like that in one of my videos. Sir, remember my name. I will be scoring all India rank and getting into some government seat in NEET 2026. Okay. So what about the next one? Acceleration, guys. Velocity by time. Wait a minute. Velocity is dimension I already know from here. L1 t raised to -1. So if you know something, don't waste your time. Directly put it. Time is just time. Okay. So bring it on the top. So it will become L raised to 1. T raised to -1. This also becomes t raised to -1. Don't be a fool and write time 2 times. So write it as t raised to -2. Is that right? So L raised to 1. T comes on the top. So -1 and -1 will become -2. Is that right? Everyone? Okay, perfect. What about this? Force is mass into acceleration. Mass is m only. Okay, mass is m only. And acceleration. Acceleration, I just got it over here. So don't again derive the same thing. So acceleration is L1 t raised to -2. Okay, so this will just become m's power is 1, L's power is 1, T's power is -2. So force is also done. We can find out work also. Work is force into displacement. Force part I did it here. So directly borrow the result. So it will be m raised to 1, L raised to 1, T raised to basically -2. Displacement is basically length at the end of the day. So L into L, what is it going to be? L into L, it is going to be L square. So L square T raised to -2. This L and this L will just become L raised to 2 guys. Is that okay, everyone? What about this? Mass. Mass is just m. Volume, I know, is nothing but length into breadth into height. So length 3 times, so L cube. So this will be nothing but m raised to 1, L raised to -3. What about this? Mass into velocity. Mass is m. Velocity already done over here. It is L raised to 1, T raised to -1. So technically m raised to 1, L raised to 1, T raised to -1. So any question, any physical quantity is there. If you know the formula, you can find the dimensions. What is the limiting factor for us right now? Since most of you might be in 11th standard or probably at the beginning of your syllabus, so you might not have heard all the quantities like capacitance, current density, yeah, mobility, whatever, flux, this, that, magnetic field. So when you learn the formula, it's just about, if you know the formula which I have put in light blue, you can immediately start substituting the dimensions and get it. Is that right, everyone? Yeah, error in measurement will also be covered, but not in this class, the next to next class maybe. Okay, so it will take time. It's a big chapter, not very big, but decently sized considering it's the first chapter itself. Okay, sir, from units also you can calculate dimensions. Yes, imagine I tell you, the unit of a physical quantity, and let's say it is kg square meter per second, or let's say kg into kg square meter, or let's say, I tell you it is kg second square per meter cube, or let's say I tell you it is you know meter 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 cube per second square. Just the unit of the physical quantity is enough to get me to the dimensional formula of it, to get me to the dimension formula of it. Kg is basically mass, so it is mass raised to 2. Meter is basically length, so length raised to 1. That's it. Directly you can get it if you know the unit of any physical quantity. This one, kg, is basically mass, so mass raised to 1. Second square, that means time raised to 2, and divided by meter, which is length cube. So this is as good as saying m1 L raised to negative 3 T raised to 2, because I can take length on the top. Similarly, what about this? Here you have meter. Meter is basically length, so length cube, divided by time, because second is basically time. So you can write it as L raised to 3 T raised to minus 2. Some books might also write this as there is mass but with a 0 power, m raised to 0, L raised to 3, T raised to minus 2. Why? Because anything raised to 0 is 1. So if it is independent of something, then you might always see some 0 power. So basically this quantities units tells me that it is not directly dependent on the mass part. Yeah, it is not dependent on the mass part. Yeah, is that clear? Sirisha, do you also teach in the Vedantu app for the NEET batch? Yes, my dear, I do teach in the Vedantu app, or you can say the website or the batches that we have. You can see right now over here the DNA batch for NEET 2026. This is the batch where I'm teaching, yeah, the complete NEET syllabus in the next 6 months, along with Shivan sir for physics. And you also have Gopika ma'am, Basav sir, Vishakha ma'am for biology. You also have Paul sir and Diksha ma'am for chemistry. Okay, so you have the IIT tinge and the flavor along with your regular YouTube teachers. Okay, so this is the DNA batch and it's just starting today. Yeah, so you can definitely check it out. It's for a bare minimum price of 3,999. This comes with a revision booklet, which is very cool. Small pocket size cards. Some people also want, the small pocket size cards, and they want all India test series, so they go for this. This is an offline test series which you get additional to your regular test series in the batch. So this is the batch where I'm teaching for the NEET aspirants. Okay, Srisha? All right. So yes, sir, I understood this. Sir, but there is one thing you still missed, I feel. And you will be like, okay, I'll be like, what? Sir, what about angle, sir? What about angle, sir? You did not tell me the auxiliary things, the dimension. So comes the beautiful question. Can a physical quantity have unit but no dimensions? But no dimension. The answer to that is a big yes. The answer to that is a big yes. You will be like, why? How? Last lecture, if you remember, I gave you length of an arc formula, and that was radius multiplied by the angle. Radius multiplied by the angle measured in radian, if you remember it. In the geometry class, basic maths class, basic maths for physics. Okay, right? Now, if you write this dimensionally, length of the arc is length, radius is also length. So the dimension of angle, think about it. What will happen? This length and this length will cancel. There is nothing left for the angle, guys. There is nothing left for the angle. As you can see, There is nothing left over here. So angle is a quantity with no dimension. So example, angle, not just that, even solid angle, they both have units but no dimensions. They are basically dimensionless. Such quantities are called as dimension dimensionless. So this is how it looks like without any dimensions. Okay, so it is definitely possible for a quantity to have some unit but no dimensions, and this is the best way to look at it. Length got cancelled and only angle remained. Angle has no dimension at all. Okay, so this formula I have given in this particular class, the basic maths geometry class. Okay, you can see it right over here. Length of the arc is r theta. I've explained it how it comes. Okay, somebody was asking, sir, if I just want test series, is that possible? Sir, I'm from DNA batch. Can I get your last year's classes in DNA batch now? Yes, Mahalakshmi. This year's DNA students are still going to get my last year's DNA batch classes. As a recording, I'm giving it free of cost for the current DNA students. So be happy. Don't worry. Okay. So that's a really good thing which is happening. So some student asked, sir, for test series, what should we do? Go down. I think it should be there. Can you see over here? AITS test series. AITS test series. This is what you can do. You can buy it from here. NEET 2026 study material. AITS offline test series. You can see that right over here. Go from here. Click on this link, AITS 180 offline test series. Okay, the page of Vedantu store will open up and you can place the order. It is for 1,199 rupees. Okay, after all the discounts, you put your address, enter your payment. It will be delivered within couple of weeks. Okay, cool. Aspirant, right. Okay. Yes, sir, I understood this now. So the summary of this is as follows. We have fundamental quantities like mass, length, time, temperature, amount of some substance, current, electric current, and intensity, luminous intensity or intensity of light. And then we also came up with auxiliary units. One is angle and solid angle. These are supplementary or auxiliary units, solid angle. So we saw that first of all, mass in SI system, if you talk about SI system of units, mass is measured in kg, length in meters, time in second, temperature in Kelvin. This is second, this is meter, this is kg, amount of substance in mole, current in ampere, luminous intensity in candela, angle in radian, and solid angle in steradian. Steradian is the unit. If you talk about the dimensional aspect of it, dimensional aspect of it, mass capital M, length capital M, L in square brackets, time capital T, temperature capital Kelvin K, mole it is MOL square brackets, ampere is capital A, light intensity CD candela, radian is dimensionless, solid angle steradian is also dimensionless. This is how it goes. So these are called units, these are dimensions. I hope now everything will be absolutely clear. Okay, but they will return the fee. Dharna, you, how can I say about which offline coaching will they return the fee? If you wait for that, you will delay your process and you will just keep on losing time, and time much larger than money. Understand that. Okay, simple. Because you now have 10 months Okay, you don't think you have 1 year. 1 year is not possible. Now it's only 10 months are remaining for your NEET 2026 exam, because already we are in June. May is the examination. 1 month will go here and there somehow. Okay, maybe in your boards, if you're a dropper, still, the final preparation, by the time you prepare, some days you might be not well, mood might not be there, motivation might be lost. So you barely have 10 months. So, don't wait for it. And plus the DNA batch price is barely anything. And by the way, let me tell you that this is a secret. I don't know whether you should be telling it or whether I should be telling it. Last year, what we did, when students were some students were performing very well in DNA batch. This is in the end I'm talking, after January. Okay, not in initial stage, after February, when students started performing really well and some students were not performing very well. We created separate divisions. We created separate, guidance for both these kind of students. Students who are not performing well, we gave them again a live class of, one shots, revisions, and everything. Students who are performing well, we got them into a separate group and we told them, okay, you start doing more problem solving, you solve these kind of questions. In that also, few students who did extremely well, we gave them full syllabus mock test. Okay, you solve JEE type of problems. That is the reason why our student Vedant got 99.99 percentile in physics NEET 2025, which was the toughest NEET physics paper ever. So, we make sure that if you do well, we'll push you further. If you do even better, we'll push you even further. If you don't do well, we don't leave you. This is one big advantage of Vedantu. We make sure that, oh, you're not performing well, no worries. We'll keep more classes for you. We'll see what we can do. We will give you more backlog. We'll give you more complete chapter revision so that at least some basic marks you will get. So that at least you will get some average score somehow or the other. So we don't leave any student till the end. Ask any other app or any other institute how many of them are really doing this at this price. Okay, there will be probably either no students or many students, and teacher won't even know how many students are there. All right, so here are some questions. Can two quantities have same unit or dimension? Can a quantity have multiple dimensions or units? Hi Josika. Yes, I'll be teaching for NEET 2027 batch also next year. It will be made available, Mahalakshmi. It is in the process of getting added because there are so many classes now. One by one, it is getting added. It will take time. So by the month end, all the classes of my previous year DNA batch will be visible. Yeah, admin team is already working on it. So the existing students or the new students who are joining the batch will be able to see my older classes of previous year DNA. Okay, it will be shared with you. And once it is shared completely, then I will make us announcement in the app itself, where to find it, how to find it, everything. Don't worry, Mahalakshmi. So can two physical quantities have same unit or dimension? Yeah, I mean, like, why not? Definitely. For example, energy, work, heat, three different quantities, but all of them, all of them can be measured in the same unit, can have the same unit, like for example, joule. How many joules of heat, how many joules of work, how many joules of energy? Definitely. Can they have the same dimension? Yes. Joules has a dimension of m raised to 1, L raised to 2, T raised to minus 2. How did I know it? I just did it over here, just some time back. Work, m1 L2 T raised to minus 2. So the same thing, I've just copy pasted it here, m1 L2 T raised to minus 2. So definitely, can two quantities have the same unit or dimension? The answer is definitely a yes. Can a quantity have multiple dimensions or units? This is another interesting question. Let's say you take the quantity of speed. Okay. Can a physical quantity have multiple units or dimensions? Okay. If you see speed, it can be expressed in meters per second, in kilometers per hour, in, let's say, centimeters per minute, in, let's say, miles per hour, all of this. So can it have multiple dimensions or units? Units, the answer is yes. But dimensionally, all of them, all of them are nothing but meter, which is length raised to 1 per second. So time raised to minus 1. So dimension wise, it has to be 1 particular dimension. It can't have multiple dimensions. So the answer for dimensions is no. Okay, dimension will be a specific dimension, but units you can express it in multiple possible units. So this is the answer for this question. Let's go to the next one. A dimensionless quantity. Imagine a quantity which is completely dimensionless. Never has a unit, always has a unit, may have a unit, does not have a unit. What do you think? What do you think? Where can I find VDPP, or am I having Tattva? Is that enough? Tattva is enough, but VDPP is right over here. Just go, if you're in the app or on the website, let's say you're in the batch, you can just go to, let's say, chemistry, for example. You can see assignments. So the assignments will be over here. So that is your VDPP. Okay, if you go to other content, your Tattva will be here. If you go to classes, you can see all your upcoming classes. Okay, and if you go down, you can see your tests. If you go to content library, you can see VBuddy. You can study from top books, or you can create unlimited number of tests, your own tests. Example, say angle. Angle, if you see, the dimension of it is nothing, no dimension. But there is definitely a unit. There is radian. Radian unit is there. But if you take the quantity of refractive index, it is dimensionless, and it is also unitless. It is also unitless. There is no unit for refractive index. So it can have a unit, it cannot have a unit. So it may have a unit. This word may says that it might be possible, it might not be possible. So possibility is expressed. It's not always or never. Never means never, literally no case. Always means every single time. May means sometimes yes, sometimes no. So hence the answer is C. So sometimes English language will help you, and they will play with words. In this year's NEET exam, there was a question where the word in biology used was child versus children. The answer for that genetic question depends whether child word is used or children is used. Child is a singular, means one particular kid. Children means many kids. So if the answer is child, then the option is completely different. If it is children, then the answer is completely different. So, you need to be very careful with even one simple word. Got it? So be very, very careful. The dimension of pressure is, and if you don't know what pressure is, let me tell you. Pressure is force divided by area, and force is mass multiplied by acceleration. Mass multiplied by acceleration. Come on. Let's see if you guys can do this particular question. Very, very straightforward. Very, very straightforward. Let's start. The dimensions of pressure is the dimension of force divided by the dimension of area. Force is nothing but mass multiplied by acceleration, and area is just area. Okay, I'll just keep it as it is, or if you want, you can just write it as length multiplied by the breadth. Now, mass is a fundamental quantity, dimension is m. Acceleration is meters per second square. Meter is in length per second square. That means t raised to minus 2. That is acceleration. Length into breadth. Length into length is length 2 times. So that is what it is. So what happens now is that this length and this length will get cancelled. One of the length will remain. This is as it is. So I am just left with m t raised to minus 2, and the whole thing divided by just one single L, which is as good as saying m raised to 1, L raised to minus 1, and t raised to minus 2. So m1, L raised to minus 1, and t raised to minus 2, which is C option for your Captain Shreyas. That is the correct answer. Yeah, I hope you are smashing the like button as you are watching the video. Mark your attendance, my dear students. Yeah, so if you know the formula, it becomes very easy to get the dimensions. It's not a headache at all. So it's all about getting to know the formula. Anyways, now I have kept a homework question for you. You'll have to do little bit of research for this. Okay, you might have to read some stuff. Okay, and the question is, which of the following pairs have the same dimensions? Okay, you will find it in many books also, and that will probably make you interested more towards newer and newer topics. Okay, it's not always going to be like whatever so taught in the lecture, same thing. No, you have to do the own research. That is how medical MBBS degrees are. Whatever is there in the book will never exactly come. Things will come from outside, beyond NCERT, everything. Not just for NEET, but even for NEET PG next, everything, guys. You need to be prepared for it. So let's see how many of you can do this question. Answer will be in the comments. Answer should be in the comment section. Okay. I'm going to read out the comment section next lecture. Read out the comment section next lecture. And very important thing, my dear students, many of you were asking, sir, where are the offline centers for Vedantu if I want to join for 2 years or 1 year dropper? We do have 1 year dropper, 1 year fresher, 2 years freshers courses for NEET 2026-2027 across all the centers in our country, be it Tamil Nadu, right? So many cities are there, Andhra, Telangana, Delhi, Bihar, Odisha, Rajasthan, Pondicherry, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Punjab, everywhere. And also for those students who prefer learning online, that option is also there. So as you are watching this particular video, let me just show it to you right over here. So let's say you're watching this particular video, go down in the description box of this particular video. And by the way, the celebration of our toppers is going to happen on Saturday. The link is put up. Okay, so you can see the pro courses 1 year and 2 year is mentioned here. These are like offline but at home. So that is an online course where you get the complete feel of offline. So the pro batches are there. The links are over here. So for example, the NEET 2027, the batches, pro batches are over here with the rank guarantee. Okay, everything which is personalized with a personal teacher, doubt solving, everything, okay, in this particular batch. But sir, I want to go to offline center. We have, the best, one of the best rank guarantee selection programs at Hyderabad and Chennai. And yes, at different centers too, the NEET courses for all of you. As you can see, yeah, over here. So you can just register over here. You can select your city and start your preparation for your NEET 2026 or 2027. All right. So thank you so much, my dear warriors. And I hope you have liked the video and share this video across to all your friends. This is your Captain Shreyas signing off. See you next time.